Well, I have a problem. There's not a lot of coal there. There's still pressure and water there. But this is a bit of a steep hill, and some idiot thought that this was okay. No, we're still going. We're still going. We're still going. Hey, here's the caboose. Yeah, so we're the blue triangle, and the yellow triangle is the steam engine. I've accepted 4 jobs at once, a bunch of rails to take to the harbor, and I thought it would be a great way to show you guys long train braking. And I was doing a test run, and unfortunately, I forgot about the big steep hill out of the steel mill. I thought that the route to the harbor was all downhill. However, we've got an almost 2% grade right here, and I've stalled out once again, and I'm almost out of coal, and I'm pretty much out of money. So I think the only way to make money now is to spend more money, and so we're going to go back to the steel mill here. We're going to grab a DE6, and we're going to see if we can't shove on the rear of this thing and make something happen. The DE6 is some flavor of EMD locomotive. I'm sure one of you diesel experts who knows things all across the world could probably correct me. It's some flavor of 6-axle diesel locomotive built by EMD, and it's pretty faithful. Like this is pretty accurate to what the control stand looks like. Although I don't think you have an engine temp sensor, but obviously for the game you have one of those for fun. Although there's lots of fun switches and buttons and relays back here. Okay, so you come in and there's this handy little box labeled breakers that you have to open up, and I have to guess which way to pull it to open it. Okay, so you eventually figure out how to open up the circuit breaker box and put the knife switch up. There should be 2 little contacts. Like this whole thing is actually energized, and it completes the circuit. But it looks like that's not exactly how this is set up. Oh, and we've got some breakers that we have to flip. That's right, we have to do the breakers first, and then we put the imaginary knife switch up. Although it wouldn't really matter in real life, and also this would be over here, and there would be about a good 30 of these. Anyways, we pop open the little hatch here, and I don't think that this is where this would be, even on this, unless this is a version where the locomotive's backwards, and it actually kind of looks like that, because this is like your lube oil filter housing and your oil strainer back here, and that's normally on that end of the locomotive. And then here's where your lathe shaft would be, but it would be attached to the engine, and then your switch on and off. But this is very peculiar. That's your exhaust. It's supposed to be for your stack, and it's now running into what looks like the normally rear gear train, where all these gears would connect. But the way that it's set up, there's no way to actually have gears working in there. That's kind of fun. Again, artist's interpretation, trying to make it look as good as they can. And I mean, that's not the point of this game. Is not to be a pedantic mechanical person, but I thought I would just explain how this is kind of different from the real thing, at least. But anyways, we prime it, and then start it. Oh, there we go. Hey! Wub, 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 wub. Beautiful. All right, and then we will hop in here, and we'll do the thing. Our automatic is released, our independent's released. This is very clearly modeled after a 26L brake. And this locomotive, it would make sense to have it. And typically, actually, with a locomotive like this, these load so fast. Electrically, like when you put them in notch 1, big contactors open up and start sending current to the traction motors. They accelerate so fast that typically you put it in notch 1 and then slowly release the brake, actually, rather than doing it the way that I just did. But the winning game's a little different. And we'll set that up because we're pretty much on the table here. Thank goodness we don't have to be balanced because we have a motor-controlled table here. And I want to back out, I think, because I want to have the nose aimed at my caboose, I think. Turn those on. Oh, look at that. Very snazzy. Got a mag valve style horn valve, where it's just a button, basically, that opens a magnet valve rather than being an actual pneumatic valve like they used to have. which is why you can't like feather the horn in and kind of quill it like a whistle. It just goes bang, because it's just a electric switch, basically. Again, we have a sand meter, which is kind of hilarious. And a sand button. Normally these would actually automatically sand based on the wheel slip circuit if it was modern enough, but it may not. Some of the old ones didn't do that. So, and usually the oh poop idiot lights are actually all back up here on the what's called the annunciator panel on EMDs, but they don't have that. All right, looks like we're past the switch. And I know they have a remote for that, but I keep just jumping out to go get it. Okay. And put it in forward, and we'll put our money where our mouth is and throttle up first, then kick the brake off. All right, so let's go say hi to the train, gingerly, gently. And then I don't think I have the remote control license yet. I think it's one of the few licenses I don't have. So we're gonna put this thing in run 8 and then head to the steam engine and then pray. I wonder. We've got our water cooler, fridge, and we've got the steps down into the bathroom, and we can't go in there, which is a bummer. There's not much in there, other than a very sad toilet and occasionally a literal shit ton. Ask me why I know. Again, a pressures in bar, which everyone has now informed me that the entire world uses, and I'm just a dumb American. So, anyways. I actually would have thought that they would have used like pascals or megapascals, because that's in the engineering world. That's actually what we use when we talk about stresses and strains and things, or not strain, but stresses. We talk about megapascals and gigapascals. So that, like, I've not seen bar used, and I've done a fair amount of stuff in the metric system. So I thought it was just kind of out there, but people have corrected me, and apparently that's a pretty common thing. So. That was a fun learning from the last DERAIL Valley episode, so I appreciate that. And by all means, I'm no expert on everything or any of this stuff, really. I've just got a little experience that I like to share. So if you guys have some knowledge that I don't, by all means, please let me know in the comments. It's really fun to get to learn all this stuff with you guys. All right, let's not run into the train at 40 kilometers an hour. So we're going to knuckle in. And normally you'd have to cut the automatic out. If you have two locomotives, you'd have to cut the train brake or the automatic brake out so that one of the control stands wasn't always trying to control the other one. I'm going to tie this up, or tie the air in, so that we can, when we go to drop the diesel, I don't want to take the diesel all the way. I do want to drop it at some point. So we'll just pop the brake valve on it. Requires license multiple unit. Yes, I don't have that. Okay, so this guy is starting. We've lost some pressure, which is unfortunate. Oh, and my fire's gone out. Well, that's also unfortunate. We'll try and use some amount of coal here. And, dunk. There we go. I pressed the unloading key from Railroads Online to do that. All right, I don't want to set off until I've got a fair bit of pressure here, because we're going to need it to get up this hill here. I'm going to set up the independent, and I'm going to release the automatic. And hopefully we don't go rolling down the hill too fast. All right, pressure's starting to come up. This is going to be interesting, because I can't control the diesel from up here. Okay, we're almost up to temp. So I'm going to start coming out on the throttle. And you can see, I did realize that I had a mod installed on my steam engine that I installed, eons ago when I last played, and I totally forgot about it. And that's why it came up to temperature so fast. And that's why the throttle was the correct way around, because that's not actually what's going on here. All right, so that's just got enough throttle to hold the train now. And rather than pay the teleportation fee, we'll come here and we'll notch this guy up till it wheel slips and then bring it back one. Okay, we can't give it 8, but we can give it 7. All right. Oh my goodness, is this gonna work? I have no idea what the weight of this train is. Oh lordy, no, don't waste my steam. Oh, I still have the brake on. Come on. Do I have sand left? No, I'm out of sand in the steam engine. So we really just... Why am I still moving with it? I jumped out. Well, that's nifty. Gives a good POV. And we can talk about why the radius rod moves wrong, actually. All right. Someday I should probably do a video explaining valve gear. But this guy's called the radius rod, and it should be fixed. Like, this is the control. This is the Johnson Bark control right here. It should fix the position of the radius rod within this, which is the expansion link. And then that actually controls what the valve will do. So you can see actually right now that the valve doesn't move at all. So technically the steam engine could never move. But they're showing the motion there. And I mean, it was just animating what they could, I think. But, you know, obviously it doesn't actually matter for the sake of a video game steam engine. But I'm going to go back to the diesel and I'm going to put it in 8 with sand on. Deploy sand. Deploy sand! Give it the beans. Engine tack is not happy. We're not pulling any amps. Well, that's a problem because we would be pulling like almost 1,000 amps right now if we were in run 8 this slow. Okay, well, we're deploying sand. We're doing everything we can back here. And believe me, I've tried to back up and get runs at this before, although I didn't have 2 locomotives for those. Do we have more pressure up here to do things? Not much, but I can give a little more throttle at least. There we go. Come on, baby. Let's get a little more heat out of this. So we're coming up to that junction. There we go. This is why I wish this game was multiplayer. Because if I could be talking with someone who's running this single unit helper, you know, a helper pusher on the rear, we could really make something happen here. I'm just hoping that we don't run out of sand back there while we're still doing stuff up here. All right, I've got it wide open up here. Temp is maintaining at 800. But we are losing pressure. Well, I guess I don't need to have it wide open, do I? Let's try and build some amount of pressure. Kick the blower on a little further. Can I get a little more heat out of that? Now I'm losing heat. Now we put some... Oh, well, that was the last of the coal, ladies and gents. Okay, well, yeah, thankfully in this game they don't simulate the... They don't simulate the air compressor needing steam to operate, I don't think. So I always have air, even if I don't have any steam pressure. We might find that out that I'm wrong in that in a hilarious manner, but we'll just let me be wrong and enjoy that content if it happens. Let's come back, see what our diesel's doing. Working its butt off back here in run 8. We're starting to get in the high temp range, even though that we're not pulling any amps still. And we still have plenty of sand. But we're starting to have a bad day as far as our fuel goes. So, or not fuel, our engine temperature goes. So I'm going to back it off a little bit. So I don't think we need it. We're now going sufficiently. And I will turn off the sand. And we're no longer slipping. All right, so we can now jump up ahead once again. We're on the diverging route. But we still have a ways to go. And the blower is not going to be doing us much favors anymore because we don't have any more coal to feed it. And I guess we can bring the bar back a little bit and pray that we will soon go downhill. Oh, I forgot how long this hill is. We don't have far to go. I might have to get back in the diesel and give it run 8 again. So it's flat through there. I wish I could just buy just a little bit more coal for this darn thing. But just like the real thing, is developer for other game complains about unrealistic nature and gameplay of other game, and then proceeds to complain for not being able to just teleport tons of coal into his tender. That said, I really do wish you could have more. I mean, the coal does not last long. I mean, it really is not that much, which is kind of hilarious. Oh lordy, our temp was still climbing. Okay, I can leave it in 8 for just a second here, I think. I don't want to... If we lose everything, we're not going to have a good day. But it looks like we're picking up speed now. So, Come back down, temp gauge. All right, the temp gauge is going the right way. We don't want to have a low oil shutdown. So there's engine protective devices on these diesel locomotives that protect for conditions like that, like low oil shutdown or hot oil shutdown. And on the old ones, the low oil and the hot oil were the same thing, because, you know, hot oil would mean that you had less viscosity, so you had less pressure, right? If you got to a certain temp or limited amount of oil or low oil pressure, basically, a valve would open and it would shut the governor off, which wouldn't allow the mechanical fuel injection to continue in the cylinders. So you'd no longer be able to put in fuel, which means your engine stops. I'm going to keep the diesel on, I guess, because either we're going to have to go and get another one at the harbor to do switching. We finally almost come out of the yellow range. I think we'll do that, because we're rolling kind of happy here. We're even accelerating with this now, so this is good. I can live with this. We don't need to push it too much harder. Jump up ahead, and I know I can teleport. Like, that's one of the features of the caboose. I'm trying to remember what all the features are. Get out of here, you. I ran into the cord, and it made the whistle blow. I didn't press a button, didn't pull on you, nothing. Obnoxious. All right. Picking up a little speed here. I should probably keep my map up. Not the station map. I keep doing that. The world map. And so we can see, and then that's right, you have to do Alt and then zoom. The rear of the trains, that caboose pretty much. The red. That's the whole point of the caboose. And you should be able to, I think you could just jump to the caboose. Oh, but I guess you have to fast travel to a locomotive was the thing. So if I click now, I can just jump back in between the caboose. But if I jump to this other locomotive, then it doesn't register that I was last using this other locomotive. So I see how that works. All right. We're coming up on 40 kilometers an hour, so I'm going to just let the throttle off and see what happens. We start losing speed. Okay, well, I'm just going to ease back on it a touch. And we'll go see where we are up here. MOW needs to come clear these trees. Good lord. No, I don't even have whistle anymore. Well, at least it won't backtalk me. All right. So we start to go downhill right here. I think that's what that symbol means. Well, I thought they had percentages. Oh, well. Still holding pretty good speed. This is just going to be a slow ride. I've got 4 jobs to shunt. We're not making the... we're not going to make any of the time bonuses. And I've actually done this in a multiple different... in a couple different sessions, obviously, because I logged in and I basically started filming. Because I was genuinely trying to do a test run to see if I could even pull this. And then I forgot the game pretty much saves, and then you get stuck with wherever you're at. So if one of you guys is more familiar with the save mechanics of the game, let me know, and I maybe could have had a better shot at it with more coal, perhaps. Also, this coal bunker is really small for this tender. It's got a lot of water space underneath it. It's interesting. And normally you have water legs, like it's a U-shaped pocket, or at least on locomotives I've experienced. But obviously, I'm learning more and more that my narrow gauge American opinions, it's not necessarily true everywhere. So. Let me jump back here. We were losing a little speed, so I'm going to come back and see if we can't push on the rear a little harder. All right, that's not too bad of a rate of increase. We can live with that. I'm just going to wear out the F key on my keyboard. Not that I didn't, ranking the Railroads Online tech tree already. Wait, that was a mouse and keyboard thing. Never mind. Oh, I suppose the real joke is if we needed to switch this out, if there's another steam engine at the harbor, we could go steal coal from it. And then just toss it right in the fire from the other tender. Fun fact, I've done that while steaming a locomotive up, actually, not while out running, but we didn't have enough coal in 491's tender when we were steaming up, and she finally got to the point where she wanted to burn coal instead of just wood. And there was just nothing in the tender. It was after some maintenance had been done or something, I don't remember, but I had to run over to 346 with a bucket, steal coal out the bucket, and throw it in directly into 491 pretty much. And at 5-gallon bucket at a time, that sucks, let me tell you. A, that's heavy, and B, a 5-gallon bucket full of coal does not go far in a firebox the size of a pool table. Ah, heck. This is going to take sufficiently long at this speed. And I don't want to leave you guys hanging. I've done a couple like hints at stories, and then they come out so much later in different episodes. So I don't know if people that are wanting to hear them end up hearing them. So I suppose I should put my money where my mouth is and tell the poop story that I was talking about. We call it my shittiest day on the railroad, literally. Okay, so down in here, this is the nose of the locomotive, and there's sand boxes up very front. That's where you fill sand, actually. But then down there is where the toilet and everything is for the... God, it's loud with the door open. That's where the toilet is, you know, for the train crew, and it's got a little tank built in. It kind of looks like a RV toilet or something, you know. And off the bottom of the tank, there's a pipe that goes off to the side where a servicing crew can take the poop and all the things and then dump it, you know, when time comes. You know, so that way that, you know, after a 12-hour run from X to X, you know, the poop tank gets full, put it that way. And, well, this particular locomotive that I'm referencing, I remember the road number and everything because it was that scarring, I guess. We were picking up a mite bit of speed. Maybe it's time to go play with the brakes and stop. Throttle on. Or at least stop pushing so hard. Let's take it all the way off and see what happens. Alright, it's nice and coasting now. But anyway. So, anywho. We had the BNSF 1676 came into the shop. And it was typically a locomotive that operated at the hump out of Pasco. And it was typically paired with a remote-controlled locomotive, or an RCL. So nobody was really in the cab of this thing for a long time, at any given time. You know, they were just, they would just go in, use the bathroom, and continue to operate the hump job, and it had complaints of bad smell. See where this is going. And it had come in, gotten serviced and cleaned, you know, a couple times, and finally it comes in, and my laborers who are cleaning the locomotives down at the service track, they radio me and they say that they think there's a problem with the 1676. I go, okay. Well, what's the problem with the 1676? Well, the toilet was full. Okay. So we hooked up the dump cart and we dumped the toilet into the dump cart. Okay. And then we took the dump cart to the dump station where we dumped the dump cart into it, you know, another tank to get processed or whatever happened to it, or went to sewage or whatever. And nothing came out of the dump cart. Okay, so the toilet didn't dump. And he goes, well, that's the thing, it did. I went back to the locomotive and the toilet was empty. And so, in a very similar voice to this, nervously giggling, I went, well, where did the poop go? And he goes, that's why there's a problem. And we're now on a hill, and I now need to be applying brakes. So we need to get to the head end of this thing. Oh, please stop lagging. Alright, so we're gonna get some brakes going. And we're gonna kick it on easy, because it takes a long time to propagate through this many cars. So I don't wanna totally stop, because obviously I don't have any way to power through it up here. So I gave it a little set, and I released it. And it's still propagating through the train, still applying brakes, and then it slowly releases from the front back to the rear. So you don't need to keep that set held. You need to take one, let it ride for a little bit, and then kick it off. Typically before a corner, I keep calling them corners, typically before a curve, so that the sideways forces of the flanges on the curve actually slow you down and maintain your speed while you don't have the air set. And so you can see that we're actually just starting to speeding up again, so we'll kick it on again. Back to the 1676. So we pull it up into the roundhouse. And I set my pipe fitter, who is responsible for all things toilet, Godspeed, God bless him. I set him about the problem, and he pulled the toilet off, and he was able to see that the dump pipe had broken off the bottom of the toilet. And so it's like, okay, well, so what does that mean? He's like, well, I'm going to have to cut the floor out of the nose, and we're going to have to go see what happened. So the pipe fitter cuts the floor out of the nose of the locomotive. And, you know it's a bad day when somebody walks into your office with earplugs in their nose. Oh man, he was a great guy, that pipe fitter. I no longer have that job, thankfully, because night shift was not a nice thing, not fun. Yeah, we're still going downhill, so we'll keep this on here. And I went to go look at it, and I mean, like, underneath the floor, there's a big open space in the frame called the air plenum, where air gets sent to the traction motors and everything. And it's sectioned off, you know, so that the specific air channel for the motors is separate. But everything else was just absolutely full of poop and of just sadness. I mean, everything you imagine, like, you know, if you've ever seen a porta potty. I mean, just porta potty, but just locomotive edition. It was very sad. And so we had to get a biohazard contractor out to come and clean it up, naturally, because, I mean, there's not a railroad person, there's not someone whose job it is to clean up that much poop, right? That's not a job description. So the biohazard contractor came out. We call them, it takes them a couple hours to show up, and I felt so bad for this dude. He pulls up, and he's driving his personal car. He's driving like a Ford Mustang or something vaguely sporty. And again, I just took a set and kicked it off, just to kind of hold us, and you can see we're still kind of hanging on to speed there, so we'll do another one of those. But anyways, this guy shows up. Uh-oh. Get back in the cab. This guy shows up in his personal car, and he's like, yeah, they called me on my day off. You know, they said that you had a toilet to deal with. And I was just like, buddy, it's not a toilet. Just come look. Just come look. And I took him and I showed him the mess that it was. And yeah, you can see the brake pipe pressure hasn't come up all the way. But anyway, you see he calls for backup. And they bring like a vacuum truck and more people. And I mean, it took them like 5 or 6 hours to clean out. And they had to weigh out the sewage for billing purposes or whatever, right? And so after they dealt with cleaning up that mess for literally like 5 or 6 hours, he comes in and he gives me the bill that the railroad had to pay, and it was just over 2,000 pounds. So it was a literal shit ton. If you ever need a character reference for what it looks like, just ask your buddy Hyce. I unfortunately know what that looks like. And we can go back. I can show you, vaguely, right? This is actually the wrong kind of locomotive. The SD40s have bigger noses than this. The 1676 is an SD40. But imagine an area the size of the nose of this locomotive, or even a little bigger, just full of poo-poo. About 18 inches deep. It's disgusting. It's what we call a serious bad day. And I left the cab for too long. We're going a little fast. So we're gonna slam on it a little bit. Yeah, we're going 50. Hopefully nothing comes off. If we see a sudden decrease in brake pipe pressure, we'll know. Okay, well now we're pretty much at the harbor. Now we gotta figure out where the hell to put all these. And I want to stop somewhere by the roundhouse in case they have another steam engine, in which case we can steal their coal. So I'm just gonna dump it. I don't want to dump it all the way, but take a big set at least. And that way we'll come to a nice easy stop. Okay, so we gotta figure out what we got here. I tried to order these when I built the train in such a way that it would make sense to unload. And it looks like this is the first set of cars, and they need to go to D5S. All right, well, we'll sort that out in a second. I'm gonna see if I can't rob some coal. Oh, that's unfortunate. I'm gonna have to tuck this out of the way. So I guess I need to kick the air off there, and then pray that the diesel has enough huevos to pull this madness back up this hill, you know, like a car length or whatever it is. It might. Looks like the air is still coming back by the sound of it. Yeah, we still got a decent set on, so as soon as it charges up. See, we're on the rear, and the valve that released was at the front, so you can see how slowly it comes back up. So you really just kind of got to take those little bites and then let them propagate and do what they're going to do. So I should probably stop fighting this because it seems like I'm moving regardless, but... Alright, it's all moving the right way over there, and it's not moving there. Okay, we're picking up slack still. That's what's going on. Look at that, we can see the slack action. Sorry, 282. What number is it? The 67. So close to memes. And honestly, I don't really want to shove this all the way in the roundhouse. I just got to get it in the clear. We'll try and kick it a little bit, and then get the steam engine out the way. And then braking from the rear, so I'm going to set up the independent all the way. And now I'm going to take a big gob on the train. And we'll see if the steam engine rolls out the way. I don't know. That might be optimistic. Slow ride, once again. We can look at the valve motion being incorrect again. At pretty much walking speed. There's Johnson bar. Oh, I guess it's got power reverse, but it's got power reverse on both sides. There's a cylinder for it over there, and then there's a cylinder for it over here. That's not how that works. There's one, and then there's a bar that runs across the frame. But then again, I'm also looking at this, and there's no hangers off of the spring rigging. Those are supposed to run down to levers and fulcrums. I actually posted a picture of what the fulcrums that go down on the bottom look like. There's big hangers that run down to them. Oh, it's biting in the curve. Well, we're just going to have to shove it out the way. And this is going to be interesting. So I'm just going to kick the air off. This is a lot of train. I've never dealt with this much train in this game. This is kind of fun. I'm going to kick the train off, and it'll take a second to release. I'm going to kick the engine off afterwards. And then... Let's see... We'll run up to the front, and what we're going to do is, just in case it rolls too aggressively, I can brake with the angle cock right here. Although this isn't technically an angle cock, because it's not that exact style. This is actually looks more like a cutout cock, where the pipe is in line. US railroads have specific valves called angle cocks, where they're the angle fitting built in with the valve. But this is a 45 with a flanged connection, with then the valve built on, which is kind of strange. You wouldn't have a flange connection there. You'd never get that to seal. You wouldn't want to deal with another seal. You would have hard piped it. But we're going to let this roll in. And again, this isn't me talking smack about DERAIL Valley. This is me just saying what the prototype is like. And maybe European prototypes are like this, but at least the stuff that I know, you wouldn't see that. All right, we're going a little fast, so I'm just going to take a little set on the train. Dunk! All right. And I wonder... Oh, we've given it a little boost. My set finally propagated through. When can I throw the switch? Was that okay? Is that okay? Are we putting it in the dirt? It looks fine. All right. So the logistical haul. Let's line this up while we're doing this. That's these first cars, right? So the 636 through the 469. We have the 469 on this end. It's got to go to the D5S yard. And we'll just let that act like a polling thing. I should probably look at the station map rather than just run around. Find the harbor. Overview. H. Harbor. Overview. Okay, D is to the right before we get there. Oh, hopefully we don't have anything in the B and C yards. Those will be annoying to deal with. So we're going to go right at this switch to get to the D yard. And we need to dump those cars on D5S, which is... Oh, this is the C yard. Excuse me. Wrong set of switches. I even just looked at the map, but I didn't understand it, apparently. Well, it looks like we are... Oh, we're flying past the steam engine. That is going to be a problem if I don't deal with it in a second here. Let's line some switches, shall we? And let's do it in an expedient fashion. I think that this is the D yard lead. And we want to be in 5. Which one's 5? 6, 7, 5S is here. Throw that. Lined. And we need to be lined. There we go. Normal, reverse, normal. Okay. I don't want to get all the way to the cab of the diesel. We're going a touch fast, so I'm just going to blip a little set with that, and that'll actually bite it down pretty good. And so what we're going to do now... Oh, that blipped it down real good. I don't want to send this whole train through here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bottle the air, which is... This is mega illegal. Or actually, no, I need to let it recharge, because I took enough of a set to stop it. That's hilarious. Okay, well... And now we're not really on the hill anymore. Good God, this is a lot of cars. All right. Let's kick it. We're going to kick some cars. We're going to kick these all the way in. It's almost fully recharged. Come on, push through it. Yeah, all right. Now that we're rolling again. Is this going to be enough speed? Where's this next cut of cars got to go? All right, well, what is the next car? The next car is the 280. So let's look. That's not that job. It's not this one. I guess I could look. People give me a tip on this. This has got to go to B10. Oh, so the B, that's going to be that'll be an interesting thing to get there, huh? Okay. I didn't look at the station map when I built this train. Do I have anything that's going into E? B40. Oh, the big strings are going into the Bs. That is unfortunate for where my locomotive is. And then one that's going to G5I. Where is G5 station map? Okay. So the short consist is going to G5. Oh, we're going to be doing all kinds of switching here. What's the short consist? It is... I need to be going faster than this. We're trying to multitask a little too hard. The 615 and the 989 and the 650. Let's see if we see any of those. It's probably at the back. 979? 899? No. It's sandwiched in the middle. Alright, well that sucks. Well, let's get these cars kicked at least. Knowing that we're going to have to move pretty far with these, so... We're just going to push through this. God, this thing feels gutless. I guess I've been running on grades and everything, and now I'm wheel slipping barely. It's fine, I like extra maintenance cost. Oh, and the caboose is not happy with me shoving this hard through it. Alright, so we'll kick this off now. And I think it's going to make the most sense to punt these cars and then figure out where the cars that are going to the G yard are. So I'm going to bottle the air, we're going to uncouple, and then I'm going to pop the joint. And so that'll set up, that'll stop, and then these will roll. And I don't want to be waiting on this forever to recharge. And we even were good kids and only left it slightly in the foul at the grade crossing. Beautiful. All right, so this is lined in. Hopefully the rolling resistance isn't so much that it won't go too far. I think this is the G yard. Yes, okay. So the short boy is this one. It's got to go to the G5 inbound. So we'll line that up while we're here. Need to line that switch. Okay, so all we need to do is normal this switch, which is currently thrown reverse, and then we could stab those cars in there. Although we got to do something with these cars first. So I think what I'm going to do, I don't know if those are going to roll long enough into those tracks, so we might have to shove them, but I'm going to find the break point between this job and the next job. So let's see. This one is the 280 through the 707, and it's about 8 cars. So somewhere around here, there's the 707. So here's our break point. So I'm going to bottle the air now, and I'm going to break the joint here. Dunk. so that we can just kick these somewhere out of the way into the E yard, and then we'll grab them when we go to figure out the B yard mess. And I think we're just gonna Dutch drop them, which is gonna be a little hilarious. And these are almost stopped, so I'm not terribly worried about them doing anything. So next we're gonna punt these, which I'm slanging slang. It's kicking cars is the term, and I'm saying punt the cars. And we're gonna put it in neutral, and then we're gonna rev the throttle up because we know what we're doing here. All right. Pushing hard. I'm gonna get a little bit more speed so we can get a good kick. Because obviously we didn't give the last kick a hard enough speed. And to be fair, it has been about a year since I've kicked cars and played with the air brakes on this. I used to be pretty good with it, but pretty sure last time I played this a lot was right after they added the caboose. I did enough to unlock the caboose, and this was like my second or third job with it. Was this one actually? So, all right, that's probably pretty good there. Hopefully, all these jobs are enough money to pay for all of this maintenance that I'm incurring. It was like 8 cars back, right? That was the joint we popped. Here we are. Okay, so we'll set that up and just do a little bit. And are these stopped dead? Yes, they are. Cool. So hopefully we'll stop in advance of this so we can give those a bit of a shove. And then we'll just leave these in the foul of this grade crossing and piss off the the many residents of the harbor and their roundabout that doesn't correspond to the MUTCD with a grade crossing too close to it. But that's a whole nother rant of a topic that we could get into that's really not terribly important at this point. All right. We'll dump the air there, zero it out so those cars don't roll anywhere. We'll come pick them up in a minute. Okay, we're going to grab these, and I'll leave these together for now. We're gonna shove the rest of those cars the way in, and hopefully we don't need to like really just escort them all the way in. I just want to kick them so I don't have to go in and then pull back out again. I want to kick them, stop, and then do what I gotta do. What I was talking about earlier, the MUTCD is a very riveting federal manual on traffic control devices. It's the manual for uniform traffic control devices. So if you ever wonder why you have traffic lights a certain way, or why railroad crossings look a certain way, or signs or striping on the roadway or anything in America, guess what? It is in that manual. And it's like 900 pages of boring, so I wouldn't recommend you look it up. But I deal with that manual so much for work anymore that I always make jokes with it. Oh God, I'm running into these cars, aren't I? I was monologuing, and we're gonna bam into those super hard. Okay, we already did. Well, they got the kick that they needed. Did we murder this car? Oh yeah, we're gonna have to pay for that. Well, it'll probably go far enough now. Oops. That's what happens when you monologue about the MUTCD, kids. Okay. So 615 to the 989. We'll break the joint here. And you know what? I'm going to leave the air hoses connected. This is going to be an elite move. But with this one open so that when we stop, or when I apply the brakes on this cut of cars, it'll auto pop these off. And we'll drop them. Meanwhile, these guys are hopefully going to roll into that track. Let's see if we can multitask it. I know that just worked really, really poorly, but we're going to try it again. I hope this caboose has a wood, or has a steel frame. Because if we're shoving through this much of a wooden framed caboose. Well, it doesn't have truss rods, so, oh yeah, it's steel frame, you can see. If you ever wonder what those little bars underneath that kind of go like that on the cars, on the passenger cars and stuff are, they're literally truss rods to keep the car straight. Counteract gravity, keep it in tension. It's kind of a neat little thing. Alright, so we'll leave that about run 6. That's the plot of Unstoppable or whatever. And we'll Jesus across the water. And find that these cars are just now entering their tracks, so we still have plenty of time to apply brakes. And that's still not going very fast, so that's good. Alright. I would go accept these jobs as I park these, but I really there's just no way that I'm making the bonus time. Pretty sure I've filmed longer than 24 minutes already. Yeah, I've filmed longer than 24 minutes this session, and I've done 2 filming sessions on this, so. This kick is just going to be about right. Oh, this is now going fast. This is now going fast. This is now going fast. Hello. Hello. No more throttle. How about that? And dump the air. Kapow. And then we'll just bring it back to release, and it'll do what it's going to do. And we'll kick those cars. Oh, but I had to wait till they were in the track to do that. That's why this is no longer an elite move. Okay, we were trying to do too many things at once. Once again, these cars are now where they need to be. They need to stop. Okay, let's go back and now shove these cars out of the way. And then we'll go pick up our friends that we left over in the E-yard. I'm getting nearer to the caboose. That is a problem. My buffing devices have not buffed. They've gone through each other. Hopefully that doesn't cause a ridiculous physics problem. Alright, have we doinked into those cars yet? There we are. They don't want to move for some reason. It's almost like they're air dynamited. It's almost like I've zeroed out the brake pipe and applied as a maximum application physically possible. I think you gotta be past the sign. I think that's the rule. That's for the job to count. I can't remember. Okay, well that's there. And kick this on. Okay, do a nice fast stop. Get this going. And we'll back it up. I wonder what these other pressure gauges are for. Well, they read 0. Hopefully it's not main reservoir and equalizing reservoir, in which case we are boned. But seeing as we're also not pulling any amps, yeah, I think that's the thing. Oh, we have a bell. Do we? No, we don't. Well, that's not exciting. Alright, so we're going to pull this mess out. Or maybe I just want to, rather than knuckling into these and trying to do them all at once, we'll try and Dutch drop them a set at a time, right? So I've got this big, long, ridiculous cut of cars, right? That's what I have now, 979. Okay, it's got to go to B40. Oh, I think I've got to go this way. No, that's C yard, isn't it? Does that say C? Yeah, okay. So we want to keep backing up, and we're not blowing horns for the grade crossing because we're bad locomotive engineers doing silly things. Okay, I think B's through there. It's about the only other place it could be, isn't it? Yes, okay. So this big train needs to go on B4, so that's going to be over here. B4O, not B4S. So I was like, wait a minute. What? Oh! Oh no! Oh no! I was looking at the loading this whole time! Do we have time to... No, we're already past the switch! Oh my goodness. Alright. I wonder how many of you noticed that and realized I was being entirely stupid. Well, no, but now hang on. I can just go past the Y and just push him in now. Oh, yeah. That's that. No, I planned this. That orchestrated, planned the whole thing. One could say it was conducted quite well. I knew exactly what I'm doing. I can't believe I was looking at the wrong station the whole time. Oh, God. So I probably have this one wrong, too. B10. Oh, it's got to go to D4. Okay, so I really could have consolidated some of those moves. Good. God. All right, we'll just jam the independent on just because I want to increase the maintenance cost on this poor diesel some more. Just to get the slowdown started. Take a set from over here. Okay. Where is it going? Oh, it's going into not this cut of cars. Pay attention. Where we want now this cut of cars. C2I. Okay. Right. That is the middle track. Normal that switch out. Normal, normal. Okay. And that rolled pretty far. Still rolling, actually. Get in there. All right. Straight to 8. Here we go. And again, this is backwards. And then this, there's no argument on it being backwards. This is actually just backwards. Unless the throttle modules are backwards in export EMDs, in which case, tell me I'm wrong. But that would be kind of surprising to me. Because the actual throttle controller in there is quite the involved set of contacts and valve work. Okay, so we've parked 2 sets of cars. The short set then needs to go to D4I. And where's D? Oh, that's next to those other cars we had, isn't it? Oh, it might even be the same track. No, D5S, okay. Alright, we can kick the air off there, or not the air, the throttle. Zero that out. We're going about 28, that's fine. If I was really cool, I would have kicked it off earlier than that, but do one of these. Kapunk. Bye-bye. This is a good speed to kick. This is a long cut of cars to be kicking, though, through a corner like that. All right. And again, we'll try and control our brakes from here. It's much like pranking the engineer behind you when you're in Day Out with Thomas. Oh, hopefully that wasn't too overcooked. That might have been too overcooked. Well, that's where the cars are going to be. They're still in the foul there, but I don't know. They might give me points. Let's go turn some jobs in just to get some of these out of the way. All right, we did that. Hooray. 161 minutes. Vomits. Thank you for the money. We did that. Yep. Gross. Hooray, money. God, that's not enough money. We're going to have to run some explodey boys, I think. And then is this... Wow, they considered that being in position. I will take it, and I will literally take the money and run. Okay, we just got to go grab that last cut of cars and stuff them into D4I. So let's get this lined out. D4 is... Oh, this is G. Durr. We need to reverse this switch. And on a tuck normal and reverse, usually it's the root, but if we don't know what the normal root is, normal is straight, reverse is turned. Forgive me for using inside baseball knowledge terms. 4I. Okay, again, that's the straight, just the middle track here in the yard. Okay. All right, so we're lined in to that one. Line there, line there. Okay, now we will go... Well, we'll pick these up with our caboose shoving platform. Oh, lordy. Oh, I haven't cleared out the brake pipe. That caboose is sitting on us. And you can see how much faster the gauge moves when it's only resetting one car. Although that's not really how that works, is it? You can see the gauge come back to full pressure on the head end, but still have reduced pressure somewhere in the system down the line where you can't see. You need to have that's why you have a gauge at the rear end telling you what your rear end pressure is on your ETD, end of train device. Also colloquially known as a FRED, flashing rear end device, or a less polite version of that, if you will. Alright. See if we can't knuckle into this thing. I guess we could do the grade crossing because we're actually being good kids now. And we're not aligned in there, are we? I know I just threw that switch, but I guess we'll ride the shoving platform. And we can tie down the handbrake. It does have the one car that has one in the game. Quick taps. Quick taps have big effect. Perhaps not big enough. Ah! Dunk. That might have been a bit quick. How quick was it? Not too quick. What about this one? Yeah. That felt pretty violent, but it was probably your 4-mile-an-hour couple. Oh, we just cut that out. We want to cut it in. Cut in, cut in. All right, charge that up, and then we just got to go and stick these cars in the hole here. Yeah, they're for sure. This brake gauge is basically acting like the whole brake pipe. That's why it charges slowly. It would have already reset all the way on the head end, but the rear of the train wouldn't have charged yet. So, can't fault them. This is probably easier to understand for gameplay's sake. There were a lot of good comments on the first DERAIL Valley video about what's too realistic and what's a game, and I think that's the challenging fun line to walk. What's so realistic that it becomes work and isn't fun, and what's easy enough for a game. And DERAIL Valley genuinely does feel like it's at a pretty decent level. It is fun. It doesn't feel like work. There are some things that they could add that I'm sure they're adding in Simulator that would take it to the next level, I think. But certainly for someone who knows these things, they could add some more. But for the casual player, it's a pretty good level, I think. All right, shove this thing in. Also, speaking of, yeah, we have attack. That doesn't make sense. And also, a top RPM on an EMD is about 900. And they do not idle that low. That's funny. They idle at about, it depends on the governor setting, but usually about 300. And then your top throttle is about 900, depending on the governor. Some are like 901 or 902, maybe a little bit more. But yeah, notch 8, 900 RPM. So notch 8 in a big diesel engine is about what your car does when it idles. Gotta remember, most EMDs, the engine name is the cubic inch per cylinder. So, if you have a 567, that means it's a 567 cubic inch cylinder times 12 or 16 or whatever. I mean, so the displacement of these engines is massive. EMD also, of course, had the 645 of many varieties, and then the 710 is the big engine that they have on their biggest locomotives. This one that's being represented in the game might be a 567 or 645 if I had to guess. I think someone was saying it's like an international SD 18 or GP 18 or something. I thought someone said it was GP, but it's 6 axles, so that doesn't make sense. All right, we'll put this consist away the way that you're supposed to. and actually just ride in the cab and park it. Take a little set. Watch the reduction. Kick it off. Take a little set. We're almost where we want, so we'll take a little bigger set there. And pretty meaty set, and we'll just let it slide to a stop. Well, hopefully not actually slide. Roll to a stop. And kick the brake off right as we stop. And then we will pop that off. Gaboong, gaboong. And there we are. Car's out. And someone did inform me that I don't have to be uncoupled to turn the job in, which is nice. But 169 minutes. Nice. All right. How many dollars do I have? 72,000. Thank goodness, because I'm going to have to pay for a lot of junk, I think. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to go shove the steam engine in and get it serviced. Okay, we've got the 67 in here. And we wore down the wheels a little bit. Let's give those a little repair. And fun fact, it's a lot harder than that to deal with wheels on a steam engine for real, but that's a topic for another episode. Body's fine. Engine, it doesn't have engine, but that's the engine. Oh, well. Coal, well, it's not the tender. Sand, well, it's out, so suppose we ought to fill that up, huh? Doesn't take oil or diesel or anything, does it? $4,000 for the steam engine, so that's less than half than one of those jobs, so we can pay for our steam engine. Feel good about that. Cool. And now we'll shove the, this is the silliest consist I've seen in this game. We'll shove the tender in. Now I have a tender here. Body's happy. Water. We didn't run it out of water, which is better, better run out of fuel than run out of water. So, I wonder what units these are. Oh, it's got to be liters. Yeah, so it holds however many. Do math. 45,000 liters. And let's add the coal. Unit cost $2.79. This must be kilograms. $2.79 per kilogram. That's absurd. We pay $111 per ton. And it only holds 3,000 kilograms? Only 3 tons of coal for this? Are you kidding me? The 491 holds 10 tons. 346 holds 5 or 6. And it's itty bitty, narrow gauge. Okay. $11,000 for the tender. Okay. So that was more than one of those 4 jobs, but that's better than I thought. So, obviously this thing needs fuel too. But I also don't really have a good spot to put it. I don't want to have to deal with moving the steam engine now that I put it there. So I'm just going to pull the knife switch. Which is not how you'd shut that down, but it works. Pull the knife switch, properly secure it, dump the air, everything's set up. I don't have a handbrake that I can tie down, nor do I have a chain that I can toss under it. But we can hop in the caboose, and the caboose is neat because it's actually got your career manager dealio right here, and we can check our fees. We're going to have to pay for a couple jobs that we had oopsies on cars on. That must be the one that we know about. The 67 still needs $4,400 worth of stuff. I wonder why. I'm not sure why that is. If someone knows, let me know. But I'm going to pay these, and we'll end up with more money than I started with. Oh, actually, no, we won't. We'll be pretty comparable, actually. Bummer. Next time I'm going to have to haul some expensive cargo, I think, to make some money. So, anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, make sure you click the like button, leave a comment down below, and particularly if I mess something up, I always like hearing the corrections and learning more about all this fun stuff. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do. Click the bell if you want to get notifications on when I'm going to upload next. So, thanks so much for watching, everyone. We'll catch you next time.